Now, when we talk about South African national standards, we've got more than 7,000 South African national standards, and we produce over 700 standards per year. I'm not talking about the international standards. I'm just talking about South African national standards. Therefore, when you combine the South African national standards and the international standards, the list is endless. But what are the common standards that we talk about? ISO 9001, it's about quality management systems. Do you have defined processes? Before you even consider going for certification, you need to have defined processes. Because you've got defined processes, everybody must adhere to those. And because they are adhering to those, it becomes easier for you to be certified. What goes into ISO 9001? You might have heard me speaking about those earlier on. Your vision has to go in there. Your mission must be in your file. Your vision, it's your mission, your vision, your policies, they must go into that particular file. The strategic focus areas, the objectives of your business, your SWOT analysis. What are we talking about SWOT analysis? We're talking about your risks, identifying your strengths, identifying your weaknesses, identifying your opportunities, identifying your threats. They need to go into your file. You talk about your organizational structure. Who's who within your business? Who's the CEO? Who is the CFO? Who's the operations manager? You're saying, I'm a one-man show. It's okay. Your organizational structure will be a flat structure that says, you are the CEO, you are everything within your business. The history of your business. When did it start? It goes into your quality policy manual. Then the critical key elements and the exclusions of the standards, they go into your quality policy manual. How do you choose to align to every element of the standard within ISO 9001? That's part of your quality policy manual. When you apply for a tender and they want companies that are certified or companies that have got quality management system, you can take that quality policy manual and present it to them. And by virtue of you doing that, they would see that the company has got direction. Typical example of companies that have got that. You've got Portia M. You've got companies such as Moss Crib that produces baskets out of recycled pipes. They've got all of those. And as and when they market and they sell their companies, they present that. You've got the companies such as Shamila in Bushbuck Ridge. You've got a cooperative in Mkondo area that is also doing very well. It's owned by women, only women. And they're producing bricks. Because they're producing bricks and they've got systems in place in Kaba Bricks, they are supplying government with bricks to build RDP houses. You've got 16 Etuna, a young lady in Garankuwa producing bricks. They've got such processes. The list is endless. These are SMMEs that chose to have systems in place. Then you've got ISO 14001. You are saying to me, I am a mechanic and I'm fixing cars. The first thing that I'm asking myself, if you're fixing cars, how is the area where you're fixing cars? Is it cast in concrete? Do you have bands to control oil spillages? What do you do with that oil? How do you dispose it of? Is the person who's disposing of your oil credible enough? Do they have the letter of authority to dispose of that particular oil? And if they've done so, do they give you a certificate that shows that they've disposed of that particular oil at the right place? Just one of those particular examples. Some of you are saying, we are working in an office space. There's no need for us to comply with ISO 14001. There's a need. How do you manage the electricity that you're using? How do you control lights as and when you leave the building? Do you leave your lights on? If you're doing so, then you are impacting on the environment. How do you dispose of cartridges? Do you have systems of disposing of cartridges? How do you dispose of e-waste? What is e-waste? We're talking about your computers, your old computers. How do you dispose of those? Do you have policies in the reduction of paper, the usage of paper? Are those policies fully defined? Then we've got SANS 1812, which is about the reusable sanitary towels. Where do you produce your reusable sanitary towel? Is the area where you're producing your reusable sanitary towels clean? Is it dust-free? Are your people wearing face masks as and when they are producing this? Are they covering their hair so that it doesn't break and fall into those particular reusable sanitary towels? And if you don't do that, what's going to happen when we do the microbiology test? Your products are going to fail purely because of that human DNA that you find in those particular products. Then you've got your disposable sanitary towels, which is South African National Standard 1043. Same applies. Clean environment, a dust-free environment. Handle those products with care, making sure that by the time they go to the end user, they don't have any bacteria. The type of glue that you're using for those products, is it a consumable glue? If it's not consumable, don't use it. Same as with lipstick. If you cannot eat your lipstick, don't use it for sanitary towel, or don't use it for your lips. ISO 45000 about the safety of your environment. Are your employees safe? Do you buy them uniform, or do you ask them to buy their own uniform? If you do so, you are out of line. You need to buy them uniform. Once you've bought the uniform, you need to make sure that each and every one of them, they sign that they've received the uniform, so that when the Department of Labor one day visits you, you can then say, those who are not wearing their uniform, they are doing it deliberately. They've received it. There's the register. Now, HACCP, it's about food safety, as well as ISO 22000 and FSSC. Those of you who want to export your food products, you focus on FSSC. Otherwise, you can focus on ISO 22001, you can focus on HACCP, which are the food safety standards, the environment that you're producing food in. Is it a controlled environment? Do you manage that particular environment properly? The furniture that you're using, is it made out of stainless steel? Do you do any form of SWOT analysis to verify if there are any bacteria in that particular environment? The clothing that you're wearing, is it appropriate for food production? And do you have pets at home if you're producing food from home? And if you've got pets, it becomes a definite no-no. If you're producing from an industry, you also need to go to the Department of Health. They need to give you the certificate of acceptability saying the place where you're producing this product is safe, it's clean, it's okay for food production.